DeLuca here. All right, today you can see I am set up for a straight pour and I am going again for that molten metallic look, but this time I'm going for more of a silver. So the colors that I have for my base coat slash background color, Liquitex Basics in Mars Black, Decoart Americana Decor Metallics in Sterling Silver, and in Obsidian. This is a really pretty, it's a very dark, like charcoal-y kind of color with lots of sparkle, a very deep gray, kind of a space gray with sparkles. These paints have been mixed 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. That mixture is then thinned with my concoction of 90% water and 10% Floetrol. I do that so that I lessen the risk of over thinning. The consistency that we're working with is about a 2 on my consistency scale. It makes a mound, but it disappears quickly. You don't want to go too thin. If you're going for the bolder cells with metallics, if I were using non-metallics, if I were doing this, say, with like the Liquitex Basics, like I did in video 20, then I would be mixing this to a 1. But because there's mica in the metallics, if you go to a 1, you will get a different effect. The mica will separate from the binders and it kind of floats on top. That's not what we're going for. I want those bolder cells. I want this to look like bubbles coming up in silver or chrome or something. So that's what we're working with. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute. But if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards. And each technique has an associated video here on YouTube. That is a picture of that particular video. And this box here has a tip for that particular technique. You have the color palette here at the bottom. And then these 2 boxes, the colors are designed to be used in a 2-color palette, or you can build off of those 2 colors. And there are also 8 bonus color palette cards with some paint on it. Let's find you a paint-free card. The paint does scrape off very easily. But there are 5 color palettes on each bonus card, and you can use all of the colors or just some of the colors, mix and match the palettes with the techniques, and you have many thousands of combinations. You can use these for crochet or beadwork or any other form of artwork. And these are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and now they are available at amazon.com. So these colors, what I have here, this is the Obsidian, this is Sterling Silver, and this color in the middle is those 2 colors blended together. And the black is just the Mars Black. I just wanted to make sure that I had enough because this canvas will take up most of this cup. So let's lay down our base coat. Normally I would be putting a bit of my base color in my pouring cup ahead of time just to make sure I didn't run out, but I put some in a separate cup just to make sure I had enough in reserve. Always remember to check your consistencies before you pour because it can thicken up on you. The reason we're laying down a base coat, I find that it helps me to maintain my composition better than if I were to pour it and then add some flow paint later. I don't find that I get the best results that way. For me and my style, I know it works for other people just fine. But my theory behind it is when the paint hits your canvas, if it's a dry canvas, paint needs to stick to the canvas. So you have the under layers that are sticking to the canvas and the top layers are sliding around. I don't necessarily want that. I kind of want what I pour to slide around as one big unit. And I find I have the best control that way, and I can almost get corners going when I tilt. All right, I'm gonna pop the bubbles in the base coat. You will get bubbles in your base coat. You wanna pop those so they don't pop up later after you pour through your pour. If you ever notice, if you're using a white background and you're not using any white in your pour and you get bubbles, white bubbles after tilting, that's why there were bubbles in the base coat. All right, my base coat is down, and now I am going to put some paint in a cup. Okay, so I'm going to go in order from the darkest to the lightest. Again, always making sure to test your consistency. This cup is bigger than what I want, but the next size smaller is too small. So I'm kind of hoping that this still works. Pouring from up high to try to get it to sink. I don't like the way this is setting up. I'll say that. If this were a smaller cup, that initial black that I put in would be deeper and it would have more of a chance to dip in. I need a more narrow cup for this. And now for the silver. So usually what I would be looking for is for most of those colors to have sunk, I don't know, whatever, whatever the proper grammar is for that one. But because it's a wider container, it didn't. So I have a little bit of my base coat left, and I'm just going to try to do a layer over top if I can. It does seem to help a bit to give me more of those boulder cells on the edges as opposed to just straight metallic paint. It's not perfect. We'll see what happens. So that's what we've wound up with. Okay, so generally, for some reason, the way that the paint comes out of the cup, I usually wind up with boulder cells on this side and more of a ring on that side. And I am going to do a slow ring because I want this to look like a bubbling pool of metal. We'll see what happens. I'll pour it straight at first and then start doing the rings. slowly. I don't feel like I'm seeing enough black on top, which is usually what gives me my cells. I need that black to sit on top so that the cells can pop through it, and I just have the metallics. Pouring slower and closer as I get to the end. Oh, something just dripped. I think my cup is dripping. Oh no. Oh, that's a disaster. Why is that dripping? I haven't used this cup in ages. It was dripping water. I messed up my... Okay. We will make the best of this and cross our fingers. I will try to fix this. I think I need to retire this cup. I think there's water collecting in this. And I don't... Oh dear. Okay. Well, I wonder if I can soak up those dots of water without ruining this. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually soaked up just water and not paint. So I'm going to try to do this where I can. All right, well, I think I got it as good as I can get it. If that drip were to stay in there, it would be weird when I tilted it. I don't know that I'm gonna get my beautiful silver bubbling pool that I was hoping for, but we'll see what happens. Nothing else, it'll just be a very pretty monochromatic painting. Oh, wait, hold the phone, hold the phone. Found another drip. Yeah, as soon as I remove that, it moves easier. Always be mindful of the weight of your paint. That will really help you to maintain control of your composition. Bring the weight of the paint back to center before changing direction. Again, because it helps you to maintain the composition. Wherever the weight of your paint is where your paint is going to move the fastest. If you have a hard time figuring out where the weight of your paint is, that's how you do it. And remember to tilt slowly. This will also help you to maintain your composition. If you tilt too quickly, the paint will roll over top of itself and you will lose the edge of your pour. Sometimes what happens on the edges is the coolest stuff. Ever so slowly and patiently. Okay. And yes, I tilted off a bunch of cells, but not to fear. More will pop up. That is the beauty of the straight pour. The more I stretch it, the more cells will pop up. And I'm just going to give this a stretch. A bit on this side. Okay. Well, not as many boulder cells as I was hoping for. I did get a couple, but these lines are amazing. They look very 3D. Very 3D. Using that deep tone and the mid-tone and then the highlight color really adds to that 3D effect. And I'm gonna let this sit for a bit because I'm gonna get more cells popping up in here. Unfortunately, not my boulder cells, but I'm not unhappy with this piece. It is very dramatic. It is striking. It looks super cool from a distance, so I'm not upset. But I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna clean up and then I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up. Back in a few. Okay, here it is. Not exactly what I was going for, but wow, are the effects cool. Nonetheless, super cool 3D effects going on in those lines. I've got some of the boulder cells going on down here. Although it was not what I was going for, I'm not unhappy with this piece. I wish more of the silver would have showed up, but it blended, so I still got my 3D effects. That is just so cool. It kind of looks like an asteroid belt. But there it is. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned how to get drips off your painting, water drips. That was a little bonus in this particular piece. But if you liked it, if you enjoyed, please do click that like button. Subscribe if you have not already. And always, of course, sharing is caring. That's always greatly appreciated. It's tough work to stay afloat in these YouTube algorithms. Do check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined, my website GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music and fluid art inspiration cards for sale. The fluid art inspiration cards are also available at Amazon. Do check out the affiliate links in the description box to Blick and Amazon and Arteza. Anything that you purchase, if you enter through those links, I will receive a small commission of at no additional cost to you. It's a great way to help the artists out without costing you anything extra. And last but not least, you can find the link to our Facebook group. Go make some art, join us there, post your masterpieces, ask your questions, get some inspiration. And that is it for me for today. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.